Welcome to the WRAL Daily Download. I'm Megan Glova. A popular product meant for relaxation may be putting families at risk. 5 on Your Side's Keely Arthur joins us now with a scary story out of Cary. Keely, what happened?
Well, we basically started covering this as what we call in the business a day turn. So just something that happens during the day and you go out and you cover it. You're just responding. And it was a house fire. And as you know, as a reporter, Megan, you don't really ever know what the cause of a fire is typically when you're out there on day one.
Oh, sure.
And we didn't know. It was just a significant house fire, big enough for us to put on the news because the people were displaced. There was a ton of damage. And we got this kind of not mysterious email, but a vague email. And it basically said, hey, just so you know, the house fire that you covered today may have been started by a hot tub pump. That product had been connected to a string of recalls. So we didn't know who had emailed us. Turns out it was the homeowner.
Okay.
And he contacted us just to give us some awareness of that. And that's kind of what started 5 on Your Side's involvement with all of this.
Okay. And I mean, yeah, normally you expect a house fire to start maybe in the garage, in the kitchen. A hot tub is not too common. So
right.
How far did we look into the recall itself? What'd you find out?
So we cover recalls all the time. And I think at least when I was working as a general assignment reporter, I didn't really understand maybe that a lot of times there'll be a recall, but it doesn't cover the product, every version of it. Usually if there's a recall for like an oven, it will be very specific model numbers that were created between this date and this date.
Yeah.
So what we found was this pump in particular had been sold as part of a hot tub that was purchased at Costco. So the pump came with the hot tub. The pumps were the one thing that were being recalled. So this all had been purchased in November. The recall happened in September. And in the recall, it said these are involving Best Way manufactured pumps that were for sale between May 2021 and May 2024. Mm-hmm. The pump at the home in Cary was so badly melted that we don't know immediately if the pump was part of the recall.
Okay.
So we're still working on this. I feel like you and I will probably do another podcast on this because there is still a lot to unravel here. But we're either dealing with one of two things. One, the homeowner purchased a recalled pump that should have never been on the shelves at that point, mm-hmm. or maybe the recall needs to be expanded to include pumps that were sold at later dates.
Right. And did the homeowner get his hot tub at Costco?
Yes.
Okay. So that maybe narrows it down a little bit.
It does. And we reached out to Costco and said, hey, this is the situation. Can you look into it? Even though the hot tub itself wasn't part of a recall, is there something you can do to figure out if the pump that was purchased was a recalled thing?
Yeah.
Now, they haven't responded. I don't know if they have not responded because they just haven't gotten around to responding or if they're trying to protect liability. We see a lot of times, companies, they don't want to say too much right away.
Yeah.
So
okay.
That's what we're dealing with.
And in general, how do you even go about recalling a product that's included within another product? Is that something common you come across?
So the way these are inflatable hot tubs, and I had never really looked very closely at one before, but the way it is, it's like the inflatable, it looks like an inflatable pool.
Yeah.
With more depth. And then kind of like outside, like an arm, is the pump. It's like maybe a foot or two big. So what you can do, I believe, is you can remove the recalled pump from the inflatable tub. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, in the issued recall, it said they were sold separately and also with various inflatable hot tub companies and brands. So they should not have been sold, regardless of if they were sold separately or sold with it. Those hot tubs, because they had this recalled product in them, should have never been available.
Right. And do we know if either the pump or the hot tub with the pump, any of those still on the market?
So we went to the Costco where Andrew Foray, this is the gentleman whose house was lost. We went back there a week ago, so in February, to check and see if it was still on the shelves. It's not. But online, it is. But again, we don't know if we're dealing with a product that was part of a recall. There's still that mystery there. But we do know that these pumps have been recalled. We just don't know if this pump in this situation was part of it.
And did you come across any other situations like Andrew's as far as the pump goes? Maybe not the specific hot tub, but just that specific recalled piece.
Yeah. So the reason why, usually, unfortunately, there has to be tragedy for a recall to happen. It gets so expensive to do a recall. So usually there's lots of injury or even death. And that's what happened in this case. These pumps from the manufacturer Bestway, it's I think an airjet pump or a hydrojet are the names of them. There were 900,000 recalled, and it was because they were overheating, melting, and then causing fires. 3 fires, according to the Consumer Product Safety Commission, are connected to these devices and considered the cause. And one of them ended up in a fatality in Missouri in January of 2024. And so I reached out to the father who lost his daughter. And his lawyer contacted me back. So I'm going to try to talk to them a little bit more. I basically said, hey, are you guys the ones with the house fire with this pump? Because I just wanted to figure out which house fire we were talking about. And they seemed to have immense familiarity with what I was talking about. And I think that's probably why they have a lawyer right now.
Right, exactly. As far as Andrew, what comes next for him and his family? Did he share any words of wisdom that maybe he wants consumers to know?
Yeah, I think like his thing is check the products in your home. That's really hard. We have so many products.
Oh, yeah, too many to keep track of.
We don't know. I buy stuff off of Amazon. I don't know where it's coming from sometimes. I think that's pretty normal for people. So he is really putting the onus on the manufacturer, on Costco, to do the right thing by their customers. Look into this and figure things out quickly, because he said this was so devastating. He had 2 dogs in the house at the time. They're fine, but he said it could have ended up much worse. And as for him personally, his insurance company has deemed that he is not at fault. I think that he has also retained legal counsel. And so I don't think this is over for him. I think that they're really going to pursue this.
Okay. And maybe besides keeping an eye on 5 on Your Side reports, what's the best way for people to know if something that they already own has been recalled?
So go to the Consumer Product Safety Commission website. That's really the entity that issues all these recalls. They keep track of it. 5 on Your Side, we have a recall report that we issue monthly that highlights the biggest recalls that people need to know about. But try to stay vigilant. And these products that have like electrical components, just make sure that you're really following the directions, because these things do overheat and can obviously cause a lot of issues.
Right. All right, Keely, thank you so very much. And thank you for listening to the WRAL Daily Download. You may be listening to this podcast on WRAL.com or the WRAL News app. You can also find it on Apple Podcast, Spotify, or anywhere you listen to podcasts. Follow the show so you don't miss an episode. Thanks for listening.